Hi, hello friends, welcome to MEM channel. So all these days we have seen how to talk like a pro and we have completed 10 series. So today I'm planning to embark on a new series in MEM channel in which I'm remarkably delighted and glad to discuss the self-help books which I read recently, which appears to be very valuable for me. I assure you that it will benefit and improve your lives too. The reason why I prefer to share this meaningful material with you all is the man had devoted almost 20 years of his life to researching and writing the first book ever on the philosophy of success developed and applied by America's great leaders. So most of them are familiar with Napoleon Hill. For those who are not familiar with him, he is the author of the best-selling success book of all time, Think and Grow Rich and Laws of Success, and many more. He was enjoying his semi-retirement in 1950s. In his late 60s, he always desires of teaching his success principle to new audience. To achieve that, Hill and his wife established a Napoleon Hill Foundation, intending that it would continue to teach his principle after he was gone. A few years ago, executive director of that foundation came across the dusty tapes and transcripts of several of Dr. Hill's radio television lecture programs that had been tucked away in foundation archives. They had never been published. Foundation trustees were thrilled to have the opportunity to resurrect them. The book that I am about to go through you is one in that series, a transcription of the weekly radio programs presented in 1952 in Paris, Missouri. Success Habits by Napoleon Hill. Why did Napoleon Hill come to give a series of radio interviews in a small town of Paris, Missouri, which had only 1,400 people in 1952? Because young people leaving Paris for greater employment opportunities in bigger cities. A businessman in Paris, Robinson, was worried about the decline of the town and arranged to have nearly 100 townspeople to attend a series of lectures of Dr. Hill over several weeks. That would be broadcast on local radio. A number of new business sprouted in the small town as a direct result of Dr. Hill lecture. And also a movie titled A New Sound in Paris was made, documenting the changes that were brought about in the small community by Dr. Hill lectures. It was seen by hundreds and thousands of people and helped to spread the success principle taught by Dr. Hill. To attain the success habits, Dr. Hill told 13 challenges in his own life that were overcome by self-discipline. He explained in an especially eloquent manner and he described the importance of using self-discipline to budget and control one's use of time. So every week in this series we are going to discuss and go over and get to know about two or three principles and we can achieve and practice them. The first principle is definiteness of purpose. Definiteness of purpose. But we all feel it doesn't sound like a very imposing or dynamic subject, right? But he's very keen on this particular principle and told it's the beginning of all achievement worthy of mention. He illustrated the importance of being absolutely definite. Let's see what he has explained. Some years ago, right at the end of the World War #1, he went to the safe deposit box and took the written definite major purpose in that he had stated my projected income for the year is $10,000 per year. He took the pencil and added 0 to those figures, making the number $100,000 and laid the handwritten statement back in the vault. He believed he needed to set his sights higher. So after 3 weeks, a man from Texas came into his office and made him an offer of $100,000 a year. He would have to go down to Texas and spend 3 weeks out of each month writing sales and literature for him. So Dr. Hill accepted the contract, what the man drew up and signed it and went down there. That man had drawn up a contract that was very tricky and he specified that unless Dr. Hill stayed an entire year, he wouldn't receive any of his salary. Later, Dr. Hill began to understand what's happening. Instead of staying the entire year, Dr. Hill turned him into FBI and went back to Chicago. Once he reached Chicago, he took the definite purpose which he had written and read it carefully. What was wrong with the statement? And he found the statement which he had written, I will earn during the year 1919 the sum of $100,000 Isn't it that definite? Guys, do you all think it's definite? It might sound definite in a way, but it's not. There are two words which is missing. And then he realized, and then he said, I will earn and receive $100,000 during the year 1999. If I had placed emphasis on the fact that I was going to receive the money after I earned it, it would be more definite. I would have taken the contract which he drew up to my attorney, and we would have gone over it very carefully, and my attorney would have provided a paragraph in there whereby I would get money from month to month as I earned it. That's the differences I would have made. Majority of the people who go into contracts and various sundry arrangements with other people do so with such indefiniteness that there seldom is what lawyer would call a meeting of minds. Now do you understand why we should be more definite? Because we live in the world where we do meet different people. Some people are cheaters who cannot be trusted, and they will take the easy way rather than the honorable way. And to explain the purpose of definiteness, he also given other illustration. One more illustration. Some 14 years ago, Bill from Paris purchased a copy of Dr. Hill book, Think and Grow Rich, and he read it and was impressed by it. And while he was reading it, he said to himself, some of these days I am going to meet this man Dr. Hill, and I'll get him to come over here to Paris, and he's going to deliver a talk for our people. Now carefully listen the words. He said some of these days. This is not so definite. One other time when he read Dr. Hill magazine, he jumped out of his bed and said, I'm going to have him over here immediately. Even this statement is not definite, but it was approaching the definiteness. He could have done that 14 years ago if he had said, when he read the book, I like this message, I like the author, I'm going to have him over here within a month. If he has put that definite time upon his intentions, you may be sure that Dr. Hill would have been over here long time ago. Men who are so successful like Henry J. Kaiser, Henry Ford, and Thomas Alva Edison all move with definiteness of purpose. Any great leader, when he tells to subordinates to do something, he not only tells him what to do, but tells him when to do. He tells him where to do, and he tells him why he should do it, and importantly, he tells it how to do it. And then, more important than all of this, he sees that man does what he tells him. He doesn't take no for any answer. That's what constitutes a great leader. What to do, when to do, where to do, why to do, and how to do it, or what Dr. Hill calls WWWH formulae. 44 years ago, when Dr. Hill went to interview Mr. Andrew Carnegie, America's steel magnate, he was kept at Dr. Carnegie House for 3 days and nights. He was studying Dr. Hill, and Dr. Hill did not know that he was under observation. At the end of the third day, he called Dr. Hill into his library, and he said, we have been talking here for 3 days about the philosophy which I think the world must need. The philosophy in simple terms that will give the man in the streets the idea how successful men like me who got the knowledge by a lifetime of experience through the trial and error method. So he always wanted to find the philosophy behind the success stories of America's great leader and wanted to share it with the man in the streets. Then he asked the question to Dr. Hill, if I commission you to become the author of the philosophy and introduce you to the outstanding men in this country and business magnates who will collaborate with you, are you willing to devote 20 years of life to research, earning your own livings as you go without getting a subsidy from me? Yes or no? Guys, don't you think what a terrible situation and a great opportunity? So what do you think Dr. Hill would have done? What did he do? Dr. Hill, he fidgeted around several seconds. With some trepidation and little hesitation, he said, yes. Mr. Carnegie, I'll not only will accept your commitment, but you may depend upon it that I'll complete it. Mr. Carnegie, he wanted somebody who could be so definite, who could make up his mind when he had all the facts in his hands, whether he would do a thing or he wouldn't. And he found that person was Dr. Hill. And Mr. Carnegie was really amazed by his answer, and he gave him a commission also. That is how he eloquently explains the importance of the first challenge, purpose of definite. So in the next series, we can go through other principles and challenges. Always have a definite purpose on whatever you do. So friends, I believe you all like this So if you do like, please do subscribe to our MEM channel and please do share, like our channel. Thanks for watching, friends.